That's pretty.
Okay, it's 5:30. So Rhonda and Audrey, you guys can start letting people in.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us. It's going to take us a few minutes to get everybody in from the waiting room and make sure that their name is correct. So we'll start in just a couple of minutes.
Rhonda and Audrey, are y'all letting folks in? I'm not seeing them come out of the waiting room.
Yes, I'm letting people in.
Okay.
I am.
Great.
Hi, folks. Just another little interim announcement. We're letting people in from the waiting room, making sure people's names are correct. And we'll start in just a couple of minutes. We're tickled that you're here. So we're about down to the bottom of who's waiting in the waiting room. So probably start in about 1 minute. Hello, folks. I'm Janet Ward Black. We are thrilled for you to be here for the 10th annual Top 50 Women Super Lawyers celebration. This is something that our firm, Ward Black Law and Legal Aid of North Carolina, have been sponsoring for a number of years. And we hope that this will be a fun evening for you. We'll talk a little bit in a few minutes about why we are doing this for those of you who might be new, but we are delighted that you're here. Now here comes the really hard part. Are you ready? So you need to turn your camera on because you're getting ready to be slung into a breakout room. So you'll be with a handful of other people, and here's what we would like for you to do. As you know, in the past, we've met in person until last year when we had to meet by Zoom. And lo and behold, here we are again on Zoom. But we want to give the opportunity for people to connect, to be able to meet some folks. So we're going to put you into a breakout room for just a few minutes. And here's what we would like for you to do. We'd like for you to introduce yourself, maybe say what city you're from and what you do right now. And then after that, after you've all done your introductions, we have a question for you. And the question is going to appear here in the chat in just a minute. But here it is. You ready? Given what you do now, what are one or two things you wish someone had told you? Now you can give a serious answer or a not so serious answer, but we thought it might be a good way for us to learn a little bit about each other. So we hope you enjoy these few minutes in the breakout room, and then you'll come back together with all of us and we'll begin with our program. So we look forward to seeing you in just a few minutes.
I think we kept 15 of them in here with us.
You can do that.
So if you didn't go into a breakout room, look for a button on your screen that asks if you want to join the room and click on that, and you should be transported in. So I see a few folks who are still out here. So if you want to go ahead and join, you can.
So Janet, what's the one or two things you wish somebody had told you?
That I was going to have to be in the business of law. You know, I went to law school not to be in business, and I ended up sort of by default being a small business owner here in Greensboro. And so that was not what I expected at all. So I guess that's one of them. Second, I think it has been a surprise to me, and I wish somebody had told me that stuff that I learned in law school wouldn't necessarily be helpful in how I made a living.
Janet, I hate to interrupt you, but Cherie, are you on? Because it looks like the breakout rooms are going to close in 21 seconds and I can't seem to change it. I think it might be.
Yeah, I'm here.
So is there any way can you go to the breakout rooms things and not let it stop? I think because I'm a co-host, maybe it won't let me change it.
I'm a host and I don't see an option to change that either. I don't know.
We can recreate them.
Yeah, I can.
They're all coming back in.
Okay, wait a minute. Options. Here we go.
All right, so that was a little faster than we planned, y'all. So hang on, we'll work this out.
Yeah, hold on just a second.
The shortest breakout rooms of all times.
Let's see here, you guys.
Well, Janet Ward, you always liked concision.
It's true.
Okay, we're gonna reassign everybody. So bear with us, and I apologize.
Maybe you'll get another 45 seconds worth of a breakout room. We'll see.
Exactly. Let's recreate. Here we go. We're gonna open all the rooms again. Okay, that seems to be working now.
Yeah, it put Janet Ward in a breakout room as well as George.
Yeah,
It put me one and I left.
Yeah, it put me in one as well and I left too.
yeah, they probably don't realize they can get out. Let's see if I can take them out.
Does somebody else in the main room tell me what were the things you didn't know or you wish someone had told you?
I don't know. For me, here she is.
Well, it's been 35 years. That's where it's hard for me to remember.
You know, I can bring Janet Ward back, but do you think I should, you guys? 'Cause she's in there talking. I hate to jerk her back out.
No. She's talking. We can leave her in there.
Maybe pull her back right before we close all the rooms. That
Yeah.
way she's already here and ready to go.
Yeah. Okay.
George is in one too. We can move him back.
You want me to move him back?
Yeah,
Okay, let's see here. What room is he in? Do you know?
6.
He's in 6. Okay, let's scroll down. George. Okay, we're throwing him back with us. Well, I told it to, but I don't know that he probably is getting something on his screen that he has to click. Megan's coming back, Megan Milner.
Oh, I didn't know if I was supposed to or not.
It's okay, yeah.
Oh, sorry.
No worries. No worries.
Kick us all out and then put us all on mute.
Sorry about that, you guys. We didn't even think about checking the time that was set. Got somebody out here waiting. Let them in.
Gosh, I hate looking at myself. Is there a way to mute me from me?
So, let's see here. Janice got thrown out for some reason. That must have been that mystery Janet Ward person that we had.
Yeah, who do you think it was?
It was Janice, and so she got thrown out and she couldn't get back in. So I found that email that Maddie sent everybody that had her link, and I just sent it to her. So she might come in as Maddie Calloway.
Okay. Maddie went to a breakout room also.
Yeah, I don't see Maddie in the main session either. Is she in a breakout room by chance, or did she get kicked out too? I don't see her in a breakout room.
I don't see her either.
Did Maddie get kicked out?
I don't know. She hasn't texted me.
I
Oh,
haven't-
she's in breakout room 4. I found her.
Okay. And I don't see where Janice is trying to get back in. Okay, she just got it, so maybe she can. Rhonda, be on the lookout in the waiting room. You'll have to rename her.
Okay. Yeah, I don't see anybody.
It won't let her rejoin. Okay, let me try one other thing. Let's see. She may have to register again.
Have some participants coming back in.
Yeah, we have people coming back.
They're choosing to then, because I haven't closed the rooms.
Yeah, we had a message that came up.
What did it
That
say?
it said that you invited us back to join the main session.
It probably was for you, Maddie.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, don't freak me out because
Yeah,
everybody.
because the rooms aren't closed yet.
Oh, I wonder. Okay.
Yeah. So,
It looks like everyone from room 4 is gone except for one person.
That was in my room.
Right.
So I had thought that we were supposed to come back in because of what popped up on my screen.
huh.
Room 4 follows instructions well.
Well, it says they're not joined. Hey there, Trisha. So did you get what happened? You're
She's
muted.
muted.
Yeah, you might
I
have to.
muted by accident.
There you go. So what happened to your room?
Well, Maddie said that it was time to go, so we all left.
Oh, okay.
That
Well,
was-
you guys can work on the question here. We'll just make our own.
Yeah, it popped up on mine, so I assumed it popped up on everybody's.
Oh, it's okay. So the question was, given what you do now, what are 1 or 2 things you wish someone had told you? And I'm assuming y'all are working on that.
We did, and then we had started talking. So Emily is new and a new lawyer, and so everybody was trying to tell her, or they were talking about things that they wish they'd appreciated also. So they had changed it. We had changed the question because we went through the first one.
But on the wish we had appreciated topic, I think one of mine is that everybody you meet, you will know forever. All of the lawyers that you meet and the judges you meet and the folks you knew from law school will be in your life your whole career.
Yeah, the thing that I have noticed since I've gotten to my advanced age is how I started out. I was baby lawyer and everybody was older and smarter. And now I'm older. Those folks are gone, but I don't think I'm any smarter. I may have more gray hair, but.
Now, Robin, you know better.
Hi, my group. I didn't introduce myself, but I just wanted to say hello. I'm Taylor Brennan. Like Emily, I also graduated December 2020 from Duke Law and took the bar in February, and am clerking now with Judge Collins on the North Carolina Court of Appeals. So I'm also new and appreciate all this advice. So thank you.
Welcome.
Yes, welcome.
Well, we can tell you that both you ladies landed in very good places off the bat to learn how to do it and to learn how to do it right. So you got that going for you already.
And that's so important. That is actually one of the things somebody had told me was how important it was to find some good mentors. Like you both have a great start on that.
Yeah, same. I mean, those mentors are so important to your development throughout your career, and staying in touch with them is important to the relationships and the opportunities that will come to you.
So guys, we just had a new person join us, Beth Langley. And Beth, we're making our own breakout room because we're having some technical difficulty. And the question that we're all trying to answer is, given what you do now, what 1 or 2 things do you wish someone had told you? So we invite you to share that, unmute yourself and share that with us.
Oh, wow. What do I wish someone had told me? I wish that someone had told me I could chill out a little bit more.
People did tell me that, but I didn't believe them.
Is that different from people telling me to chill out right now all the time? I feel like people tell me that all the time. You need to chill out.
I wish someone had told me that parenting would be forever so that I wouldn't expect there would be this moment where my children would grow up and be independent and and then I could do whatever I wanted. Because they're 21 and 19 and they still need parenting.
Mine are 28 and 30 and just getting married, just getting off car insurance, just getting off of cell phone. It's a long time.
My daughter turns 26 in November, so I get to cancel the insurance.
And but no matter how big they get, they're always mama's babies. No matter
that is the truth, especially when they need money.
I'm trying to be more sympathetic and think when they need love or advice.
Yes, I do. I love them. I love them. I talked to both of them today. And I love that young people these days are more in connection with their parents than we were when I was that age, because it's easier to do.
Yes.
So I need y'all's advice because I started parenting really late. So I have a 13-year-old and a 19-year-old. So I don't know if I'm going to live through this.
Is the 13-year-old a girl?
A boy.
Oh, you're fine.
You'll survive.
That's so true.
Boys are definitely easier.
Yeah.
Just hang in there. They grow up to be nice humans and they like you again. They got to get on the other side of 21.
I have a question maybe for y'all, maybe of something y'all have learned. So I have a 2-year-old at home. How do you protect your time? Like, how do you protect your family time from work and not feel like you're doing only half as good at both things, parenting and your career? I often feel like that, and I just started. So.
Oh, you have to give up guilt as an emotion. It's just a negative thing, and you got to give that up.
Yeah, one thing it took me too long to learn is that I couldn't be half in one place and half in the other at the same time. So my kids didn't mind if I worked, but they really minded if I worked while trying to pay attention to them. They wanted my full attention. And so it took me too long to learn that I had to divide those things and pay attention to each one separately.
You have to give yourself freedom to make a personal decision about how much energy you're going to allocate to each aspect of your life. Some people are super organized and they can do it all. I was not that way. And I sort of took a step back in my career when my children were young and said, okay, I'm only going to work these hours. And fortunately, I was with a firm that, didn't mommy track me and still gave me lots of opportunities. But it's hard because you work so hard to get where you are to say, okay, maybe I'm not the woman who can do it all. If in fact, that's how you feel. I felt that way and I wanted to make sure I was present in my children's lives. So I just carved out a smaller space for work and a bigger space for the kids. And then when they were in high school, I came back and it all worked out great for me. But that's a very personal choice. You have to know yourself and be willing to make that choice.
Well, and you have to have a lot of help and assistance in that way. Part of how I wound up in family law was that it kept me home more with my children. It was more likely to be an 8 to 5 job because the judges were not going to make me come after 5 o'clock. And being in a local practice, they were more willing to give me some leeway as long as they knew I was trying to work. If I needed to get away, the judges would let me go to get my children, as long as I didn't abuse the privilege. And then having my own practice, not having to answer to other partners or things like that. It's a real balancing act. It really is.
Yeah, and having mentors who understand is important. Most of my mentors were male, but yet I was fortunate to have a male mentor when I was going through having children who really got it. And he was constantly on me about paying more attention to my family and not trying to be all things to all people at all times. And even though I didn't always listen to him, it really meant a lot to me that he would tell me that.
And lean on your spouse, lean on the other parent. The father has a role in all this too, and needs to be there. And that's the other thing about going back home to the small town was, having family around that could help, engaging friends or people who can help you when there does become that difficult time. And as the children get older, they need to understand that what you do is important. It matters.
And Taylor, even short of that, even if you don't have an 8 to 5 job, because I never did, or you don't have, my husband traveled, for example, but I think you can sort of change your work week such that you can feed kids dinner and put kids to bed and then go get on your computer from 8 to 11 and bill a solid 3 hours with no interruptions. I actually started taking Fridays off so that I could do carpools and things like that, but I just worked longer hours on Monday through Thursday. So I think, there are a million different ways to skin the same cat, but everybody's saying the same thing, which is you've got to prioritize your family time and figure out how to put the pieces of the puzzle together that works for you. And if it works for you, it's going to work for your child just fine.
Thanks so much for saying that. As y'all have been giving this good advice, my child is currently screaming that he wants to watch a second episode of Blue's Clues.
And that's not a problem.
It work.
At least it's not Barney.
Oh no, yeah, we haven't gone there yet, but
I love you. The Barney songs. There were some good Barney songs.
Hoping that all of the increased flexibility we've enjoyed through the pandemic is going to translate into some more options for people trying to balance it all too. Now that I think courts and employers understand that, yes, this remote thing can work. We do have the capacity for this.
Yeah, and there's a lot greater understanding for what's going on in the background. I remember as a young lawyer when I did work from home and I would take calls, like doing my absolute best if I was home with a sick child to make sure she made no sound. And that was almost impossible. But now, people understand the dog barks, the kid cries, the UPS man comes by. I just sense a lot greater flexibility in that respect now versus when I was going through that as a young mom.
I think one thing that has been helpful for me, especially in recent years, my children are now, they're not children anymore, 26 and 31. And what I've realized in recent years is, and they're both boys, but that I set a good example for them and they're both very proud of me. And so that is good to remember, is that they gain something from watching you engage in something that means something to you and that you enjoy. And I think it's going to make them better husbands because, they understand those things.
Hey guys, the breakout folks are going to be coming back in about 30 seconds. So just want you to be aware that that is happening. So we're going to get flooded with a lot of folks here in just a minute.
How is it that we're so special that we got broken out of our breakout so early?
I think you all took Maddie's advice that the room was closed and you left, and it really wasn't. It was just we were trying to get her back into the main session, but it was just fine. They should be coming right about now.
Oh,
Yes, we got Janet back.
it says no. I did not.
Janet Ward, I was thinking about you. I was looking at my pictures of the Rulafinium and the string quartet I saw there, and you were in Prague, and I stayed in a Fleabag hotel off Wenceslaus Square. I know you probably didn't stay in that same Fleabag hotel, but welcome back, Prague. What a beautiful place that is.
I have no idea what time it is right now, but other than that, I'm delighted to be back.
Great trip to go to Prague.
It was great fun. So Altina, do we have everybody back?
Yes, ma'am, we do.
All right, well, wonderful. Well, thank you again, everybody, for being here. I hope you met a nice person or two in your breakout room and had a little fun to boot. So we thank you so much for letting us throw you into a breakout room. So welcome one more time. I'm Janet Ward Black. On behalf of Ward Black Law and Legal Aid of North Carolina, we are thrilled that you are here for the 10th annual Top 50 Women Super Lawyers celebration. For those of you who don't know, how this kind of came to be was about 10 years ago, these lists started showing up for people recognizing lawyers in different ways. And I was really struck by the number of women on the top 50 list that my path didn't ever cross. You know, there were family lawyers and bankruptcy lawyers and real estate lawyers that I had no reason to ever meet. And so I talked George Hausen into saying, well, let's try to put something together to give an opportunity for these women lawyers to get a chance to connect. And we've had a wonderful time over the last 10 years hosting. We have done it in person the first 8 years. We learned some really interesting things. We found out that if you have a beautiful buffet of food, that women will not eat before the speaker. They will drink, particularly adult libations, prior to the speaker, but they really prefer to wait until after to eat. And so we would always have styrofoam containers so that people could take their food and have it in the car. And then I usually make some snide comment about how you'll take those chocolate chip cookies in the car and eat them at the stoplight that you wouldn't dare eat in front of each other. So we've had a lot of fun with the in-person groups. We did by Zoom last year because of COVID episode 1, and I thought we would not have Zoom this year, but here we are again, and I just am so grateful for you being a part of this. So another thing that we wanted to do, in addition to giving an opportunity for women lawyers to meet each other, was to allow women to have the opportunity to bring a young mentee in if you wanted to. So we started saying, you know, if you want to bring a clerk, we'd love for you to have the opportunity to do that, because perhaps those young women can get to meet some woman lawyer that could be a role model in their career. And then also, we love legal aid. I do in particular. And when I had the honor of serving North Carolina as the North Carolina Bar Association president, Legal Aid of North Carolina was kind of one of my pet projects, as many of you know, with the creation of the For All program. And I'm delighted to say that after, 13 years since our first For All day, that we're still having a day where lawyers answer the phone for free, and that great donors like you have donated over $3 million into the North Carolina Bar Association endowment to help legal aid lawyers to pay for educational debt. Well, tonight we use this as an opportunity to fundraise for legal aid as well. And we do have an anonymous $5,000 match. So for every dollar that you contribute this evening, that amount will be matched up to $5,000. And we hope that you will seriously consider that. So I wanted to point out a couple of dignitaries that we have with us this evening. And I'm hoping that Altina, my wonderful henchwoman here, can help us identify them. And we'll see if the people I have on my list are actually here. Is Justice Robin Hudson from the North Carolina Supreme Court with us? Thank you for being here, Justice Hudson. Good to see you.
Thank you. I'm here.
Great to see you.
Great to see you too.
Also from your court is Sam Irvin IV. And there you are. Good to see you.
Thank you for including us, Janet Ward.
And let me ask you, Justice Irvin, do you have probably the best attendance at these events over almost every other woman lawyer on this Zoom?
I would never say that, but I try to come when you tell me to.
And I like that you do that. I think the last time I counted, and Jimmy and I were at Davidson College about the same period of time. So I've been picking on him for a very long time. But
I've been taking orders for decades.
And I like that about you. So I think it's been either 8 or 9 years that Jimmy's been with us, and we're just honored to have you, Justice Irwin. So thank you for being here. I believe from the Court of Appeals, we have Judge Allegra Collins. There you are. Thank you so much for being here, Judge Collins. She was our speaker last year when we were celebrating the 100th anniversary of women's right to vote last year, and it was quite memorable, wasn't it?
Well, I appreciate it. I appreciate you having this, and it's nice to see everybody, and thank you for including me.
Delighted to do that. And I hope that Judge Jefferson Griffin is also from the North Carolina Court of Appeals who was able to join us this evening.
Jefferson is with us, but his camera is off.
Ah, okay. Well, Judge Griffin, if you would like for your face to be shown at some point, just let us know and we will happily spotlight you. Now, I had a report that there were some judges from Guilford County that were going to be here, but I'm not sure if they are. Either Laura Cubbage from the Superior Court or Teresa Vincent, Chief Judge from the District Court, or Caroline Pemberton from the District Court. All right, well, perhaps they'll join us later, and if they do, we'll try to identify them as well. But I did,
can I jump in really quick? I'm so sorry. I just want to introduce my law clerk that I brought with me. Taylor Brennan, she's here with me. She's been with me for about 2 weeks, and she has a little boy. He's 2 years old, and I'm thrilled to have her in my chambers.
Hi, everyone. Nice to meet you. Thanks, Judge Collins.
And while we're doing that, I'd like to introduce my immediate departed clerk, Ann Keyworth, who is a graduate of Central, worked with me for a couple of years, and I thought might enjoy meeting some of this group, and so she's here with us as well.
Great. Thank you for being here, Ann.
Thank you, and thank you very much, Justice Irvin, for the invite. I am grateful to be here with you all.
Terrific. All right, any other law clerks from our judge friends before we move on? All right, I did want to identify another former speaker of our group, former Chief Judge of the North Carolina Court of Appeals, Linda Mcgee, who I understand is joining us perhaps from the coast right now.
Yes, thank you. What a great opportunity to be able to see everybody and have a few minutes together. And I'm also pleased to be able to have Erin Burke, who has served with me as a law clerk and has been such a supportive person at the North Carolina Court of Appeals. She's with us today too.
Oh, that's wonderful. We'll
Thank you, Janet Ward.
Good to see you, Judge.
Excuse me, Janet Ward, I hate to barge in, but there is a law clerk who was in our breakout session who is a brand new law clerk for Justice Earls. Robin Sanders, if she is on. I don't know if Justice Earls is here, but I didn't want to miss an opportunity for her to be introduced to the group.
All right, we'll see if Altina can locate her. All right, well, we'll try to come back to her. Thank you, though, for pointing that out. Then another dignitary that I wanted to identify is somebody who's got more jobs than about anybody I know, and that's Clayton Morgan. So many of you know that Clayton is with an associate counsel with Duke Energy, former chair of Legal Aid of North Carolina, and our most recently inducted president-elect of the North Carolina Bar Association. So Clayton, we are thrilled that you are able to be here with us again this evening.
Sure, thank you. Thanks for having me. I love legal aid and I appreciate the invite.
Well, thank you so much for being a part. All right, and if I've missed any other person who's elected other than our speaker, please let me know and we'll try to rectify that here in the next couple of minutes. Let's see now what to do. Okay, so what are we going to do? We're going to introduce George Hausen. So many of you know that George is the long-suffering, long-standing president of Legal Aid of North Carolina. I tell people that if I was ever in a foxhole, I would want George right there with me, because he is a remarkable person who has been able to do some amazing things for people in the state of North Carolina on shoestring budgets. And the lawyers who are here on this Zoom from legal aid, and many that are not, are some real heroes, that they really are the real super lawyers. And we are particularly glad to have them with us this evening. George manages a tremendous number of lawyers, and we are so thankful that he could be here tonight to give us a brief update about legal aid and also to introduce the next presenter.
Great. Well, thank you, Janet Ward. I just wanted to let everybody know that I've tried to keep up tradition here with the libations before we speak. So if your honors will forgive me if I slur my words, it will be because I've been maintaining traditions here. Let me just say about Clayton Morgan, we couldn't be more delighted that the NCBA has made him president-elect, because that means after his term of office as president has run, he gets to come back on the board at Legal Aid. So it's a great deal for Legal Aid to have Clayton around. And I wanted to make one friendly amendment to Janet Ward's statement about the endowment. She started that endowment with zero money from her presidency at the NCBA. It now exceeds $3 million. And not only does it fund student loans to allow law graduates from all over the state to come here, but it also funds our MLK programs and some of the other programs like Lawyer on the Line that are so essential to the work that we do out of our intake unit. So it funds a wide range of things. This is the 10th year of the Super Lawyer event, which is why I'm dressed in the rental costume here, which I will discard immediately when we go dark. But I figured I needed to up my game for this crowd, and I'm doing the best I can here. So this is 10 years of Janet Ward supporting us with this event and all of our other endeavors on behalf of Legal Aid. This is our 19th year. And we were one of the first programs in the country to consolidate statewide, 18 programs coming together. It took us a while to unwind that knot, but here we are. And I have to say, last year, we went remote about 18 months ago, sometime late in March. We got to jump on everybody. So we have 500 employees. We're in 25 locations, 15 statewide projects. Our IT department took all of that remote in about a week. We did some emergency testing. We said on Thursday, I announced to the staff, we're closed tomorrow, everybody's working from home. We tested out whether our responsiveness worked, it worked. We have been in operation, intake, client representation, all of that has continued unabated and uninterrupted since 18 months ago. We've never missed a day of court. We've been in every courthouse, even while many other service providers, including shelters, have abandoned the field. Legal aid attorneys have been in court. They've been representing clients. We never closed up shop, and we never abandoned the field. And so I'm very proud of that. And last year, in spite of the courthouse closings and the various moratoriums that reduced the court docket, Legal Aid represented over 20,000 households in actual legal cases, people in desperate poverty. The median income for a working family of four at Legal Aid is about $13,000. 40% of our clients, and again, think of this, we're celebrating women here, 76% of our clients are women, heads of household. 40% of those women earn less than $10,000 a year to support their families. And we're not talking about welfare payments here. We're not talking about entitlements. We're talking about earning. So that's extraordinary. In addition to those 20,000 households, we assisted about 25,000 more with our live Zooms, our live Facebook Live clinics that we began broadcasting almost immediately about 18 months ago. So we reached thousands of people with information about the pandemic, the moratorium, the benefits, the CARES Act, all of that stuff. We have a library, and you can go to YouTube and endlessly watch our library. So none of those 45,000 clients, though, that we talked about, the 20,000 cases, the 25,000 in the clinics, none of those 40,000 include the 15,000 families that our administrative staff took on the HOPE project in 27 counties. We didn't do any legal work. They simply processed all the checks for rental assistance that came through the CARES Act. Our staff did that. We helped 14,000 families. We handed out about $8 million. So that was kind of extraordinary that the staff is engaged as our lawyers are in the work that we do. The support staff did that. So, and then there were tens of thousands of people enrolled in healthcare. Many of you don't know that the Navigator Consortium, the major project that enrolls people in healthcare in North Carolina, that's a legal aid program. That's not something we've made grand impressions with and tried to advertise, but it's a legal aid program. We are the major recipient of CMS funding in North Carolina to enroll people in ACA. And so all of that together, our clients, our staff have been in court working nonstop in this utter desperation as people struggle to pay rent. We've tried to find, we've been flexible about finding, negotiating. Again, this is landlord suffering too. We're not in an adversarial position here. We're trying to help landlords get their money, helping tenants pay their arrearages, keep them in place, keep them out of the pandemic, keep them from experiencing homelessness, especially the children in all 100 counties. So it's for me, it's a singular honor and a privilege to be a part of the firm, and not only to lead it, but to be among colleagues who combine such immense legal competence and acumen with such unrestrained and zeal and passion for justice. It's really a remarkable feat. And again, along with 76% of our clients being women, about the same percentage, 75% of the staff here at Legal Aid are women. I sometimes wonder what I'm doing here. So I have to put on the tuxedo every now and then to raise my game to be part of this, because it's really an extraordinary place to be. And we do wonderful work. So I thank Janet Ward. I thank all of you. Congratulations. This is not coffee. Congratulations to all the super lawyers. And thank you very much for all of this. The next, we'd like to keep the program going by, I believe our next, we're gonna have Diana Fenves, who's one of our development officers, introduce a video with one of our clients to give you a kind of a firsthand account of the kind of work we do and the involvement we have from clients in our board and in our governance. So with that, I will turn it back. Thank you, Janet Ward.
Hi, I'm excited to introduce a video of one of our former legal aid clients, Ms. Adrienne Kennedy. Ms. Kennedy also serves on our board as a client council member. She's been a long-term tireless advocate for her community. She's been active in her local NAACP. She runs her own local nonprofit. She's from a small town here in North Carolina, and she returned to her small town as an adult as a mother of 3. She runs her own business, and she works really hard to let everyone in her community know about legal aid and our services, as well as to help give out things like masks and other things that people need. So really proud to have her on our client council. And I'm excited to share a video with you all. She couldn't be here tonight, but she recorded a special message for everyone. And we're gonna share that with you now.
Greetings. My name is Adrienne Kennedy, and I am a proud member of Client Council for Robeson County, and any county that I can assist and represent in any way for Legal Aid of North Carolina. I just wanted to share some insight on the importance of Legal Aid's presence in the lives of those people in Robeson County particularly. Since moving back home to North Carolina, I've been on the battlefield of justice in some way. Coming from Long Beach, New York, as president of the NAACP back in 2002, we were a different type of strong unit where policy mattered, race matters, and of course, justice matters for all groups of people. Here in the rural South, and at times, it felt like a very much, should I say, it feels like an antiquated South. And so the fabric of justice just looks a little different in certain areas that may be weakened by the same highlighted attributes that made the North be seen as heroic in equality, and more importantly, equity. So moving here, I had to identify an agency, a group, an ally that could stand up to the needs of the people of these times, of these injustices. And without a doubt, legal aid has been a constant presence of Calvary. Legal aid has assisted me initially with nonprofit formation information. And throughout the years, I think for me, it started to really sink in of the importance of legal aid and how near and dear to my heart and to my neighbor's heart it is. Happened in 2016 with Hurricane Matthew. As a survivor of that storm, recapping all of the events of what I went through and what people in South Lumberton and Robeson County went through, we had no structured, constant presence of relief, of recovery, of mitigation outside of the first phase of disaster. It was a drudging experience, to say the least. I can remember my mom, before she passed from complications of Hurricane Sandy, coming here to visit me in North Carolina. And she was telling me about all of the events that would go on, as if she knew that I would be faced with Matthew some years later. And one thing that stood out, she kept saying to me, you know, if all else fails, you can call legal aid. And really, I didn't think to call legal aid. I didn't have an idea that legal aid actually belonged in disaster. However, she was emphatic about it. She named a few groups that were present in the recovery process, and she kept legal aid in the forefront, on the front line. So here, 3 years later, after Sandy, legal aid has been there for us in the Southeast region. The volume has not turned down on the war cry, and neither has the response of legal aid coming to our assistance. I remember coming on client council for the first time, and I was so excited, and I was hoping to see some activity in the form of handouts or something more personal that I could take back to the community and say, hey, this is what legal aid is about in terms of disaster. And then bam, I see these group of women come in, and they're giving a presentation, and they gave us these pamphlets. They gave us like a navigational portfolio, and we have flyers. We had so much information to take back to the community, and that was a sigh of relief. I studied those information flyers that were given out. I looked through them. I checked for phone numbers, for accuracy, for timeline, for resources. And I felt so good to know that we could showcase this information to the community. I ended up ordering about 1,000 pieces of each material. And as we do, we canvas and we give this information out. And so that was something of value. It was truly like a trophy that I could give to people as a way to show a direction for success in recovery. Today, as a client council member, we have been able to hand these trophies out to members of the community regarding housing rights, education, law, utilities commission rights, land and deeds, tax aid, housing justice. And it is my hope to edge our way into economic development legalities, as we know that without true economics in a community, a village can fail. And so I speak on behalf of the communities that have a weakened or a loose fabric still today. And I say to you that Legal Aid of North Carolina has been a beacon of hope as we tread through the knowledge of liberties and the application of legalities that belong to us. We are most thankful and we are most grateful to the presence of legal aid staff, the attorneys, the members, those that are behind the scenes. I've witnessed it personally myself, how fast information has been able to come into the community, how projects and programs and just day-to-day living information can be disseminated in the community from those that are behind the scenes and those on the front line at Legal Aid. I would not trade my membership as a client counsel for anything. It's a passion to me. I am a mother of 3. I have a special needs child. And so I go to Legal Aid for everything. Thank God I can. Thank God that we can. And it's all because of the people that have added their humanitarian hat to their fight for justice. Thank you so much.
Well, thank you to George and to Diana and to Adrienne for that nice summary about what's happening with legal aid. Just in the last year, things have changed so much. And even before we talked about hurricanes and COVID and the like, I would hear people say, well, how much justice can you afford? And a lot of us that are on this call, we can be fairly expensive for people to be able to retain us. And the work that Legal Aid does in all 100 counties, there's a wonderful program in Charlotte and Asheville as well, but Legal Aid is serving all 100 counties. And there are so many communities like the one Adrienne just described, where there is help needed and there are not resources. There's not the ability to pay counsel, and Legal Aid is filling that gap. They are bringing hope to people who are often without hope. It will be 20 years that Legal Aid was officially created next year, and we look forward to celebrating that. And you hear those numbers, the thousands that fall trippingly off of George's tongue. It is remarkable what Legal Aid is able to accomplish, and I'm very grateful. You heard me mention earlier that we do have a $5,000 match tonight, and that if you would like to donate to Legal Aid, we'll put that information in the chat. But it's legalaidnc.org/donate. You can write a check. You can also donate online. And then there's a memo area. And if you put top 50 or super lawyers event, that will get reflected in what we've done to raise money for Legal Aid through this little event that we've had over the last few years. And I'm very proud to say that we've raised $70-some thousand as a result of you participating actively in this over those years. And we're very grateful for that. So I'm going to turn it back to George to introduce our extraordinarily special speaker this evening.
Thank you, Janet Ward. Representative Sarah Stevens was elected to the House in 2009. She's elected from District 90, which I believe is Allegheny, Surrey, and Wilkes counties. She's done an extraordinary job there. And in 2017, the House elected her as Speaker pro tempore for the entire House. So she's in leadership there. During her tenure in the North Carolina General Assembly, she's been Chair of Judiciary, Children, Youth, and Families, and the North Carolina Courts Commission, all of which have an impact on the work that we all do. She sponsored and passed many bills from these committees. Through her family law practice, her interest is in Social Services Working Group and Child Wellbeing Transformation Council. Representative Stevens has worked tirelessly on reforming the child welfare system in North Carolina. Of course, she's a family law expert, and she is a relentless advocate for children who can't speak for themselves. More personally, she's a graduate of Mount Airy High School and the University of North Carolina at Greensboro and Campbell Law School, excuse me. She's past president of the Surrey County Bar Association. She's maintained a practice as a practicing lawyer in private practice since about 1986. And most importantly, she lives in Mount Airy with her husband, Edwin, and has two daughters, Jennifer and Maggie. We are so honored and delighted, Representative Stevens, to have you as a guest keynote tonight. And I turn it over to you, Representative Sarah Stevens. Welcome.
Thank you. And thank you so much for this great, great honor. I'm truly humbled by it. I am one of 7 children as well. My parents were married for more than 60 years. And my mother was 26, my dad was 29 with 7 children at home. So, you know, they don't have a lot of college experience themselves, but found it very, very important for us. I have an older sister, she's 7 years older than I am, who also went to Campbell Law School. So that's someone whose sort of steps I follow in a little bit. Once we left law school, though, we became very different people because she is predominantly a real estate lawyer who stepped down from practice, while I like the excitement of the courtroom and family law. So we share a lot of different stories and a lot of different information about that. What I think about attorneys and being a super lawyer and what does constitute a super lawyer is our education and the experience we gain from that education. And you hear lots of lawyer jokes, and I actually heard somebody on the floor the other day, the floor of the North Carolina House, indicate her background. Her background was in teaching and school administration and all of these other areas. And then she said, but you didn't know I got a law degree. No, we didn't know you had a law degree. She said, yes, I watched Law and Order and Matlock and The Practice and all these things, which would be funny, except she was being serious. And she said, so I know that what you put before us, based on all that legal experience I have, is just your first shot at what you're willing to do. And we know that there's so much more you're willing to do. And I found that odd, funny, but also greatly disturbing. So I think as lawyers, what we have to know is that what we do is important and our education is important, and people need to recognize that. What do I think is important for a lawyer to do? And I think the things that develop trust for the general public with us, and there are other people who have a very different perspective, but it's the civility that we can show to each other. We can agree to disagree in court and be very, very civil with each other. Some people think that what you want a lawyer to do is fight no matter what, be aggressive, be ugly, be demanding. And that is not the way we should practice. That's not the way we instill trust in people, which is why it's very important for our judges to help us maintain that civility in the courtroom. I can tell a story of being in a court with a particular attorney, and he was very, very ugly to me in chambers and on the floor because the judge allowed it. And as a matter of fact, the judge would frequently sort of benefit the person who screamed the most. So there were times I had to scream the most because that's what he did. Exact same lawyer a month later, exact same case. We're in for a second part of a hearing, but we have a different judge. Do you know he didn't behave that way? So that was up to the judge to help control that courtroom. But that's important for us to maintain that decorum about being a lawyer. Another thing I think is critical for clients to have trust and faith in us is under promise, over deliver. Now, most of the time when I'm talking to people, I say, I'm going to give you a realistic expectation. Here's our side. Here's the other side. If we go to court, here's sort of what I think might happen. But I see so many attorneys who want to, again, sell themselves. And I can do this, and I can get you everything you ask for, and I can do that, and I can do that. And that's not what we can do. So we're better off to underpromise and overdeliver. We get a good reputation. She told me she could get this, but my gosh, she did that. She did so much more. So it's getting that realistic expectation. Every now and then a client might leave my office and go, I'm mad. She's just not going to do anything that I want her to do. But I would send them to other attorneys who would explain to them that perhaps what I told them was not so far from the truth. And so they could come back to me and feel very good about it, or they could stay with the other attorney and get very frustrated that they had been overpromised and underdelivered. And I think that's very, very important for us. In family law specifically, I think we have some very, very special duties and obligations, which I'm sure are a lot of the same things that we talk about in legal aid, that people are going through a tremendous amount of stress, a tremendously hard time in their lives, and we become very, very important to them. As a matter of fact, if you look at the life stress factors that they look at in psychology, number 2 is divorce, number 3 is separation and marital division. The only thing that ranks higher than that is the death of a spouse. So we are coming to people at some of the most critical times of their lives where they really need a handout, a hand up, and even a comforting arm. So a lot of what I had to do in the beginning in terms of practicing with people is to simply hear them out, to listen, to provide some counseling, to talk about getting to the other side, getting past where we're supposed to be now. So you have to carefully balance between becoming their psychologist, their counselor, and simply being their attorney, getting to some of those, actually tackling the legal issues with them. And so I think that's a very, very important thing that we do. But we also, as we get too emotionally attached, then we lose our objectivity. We have to remain objective. And it took me probably the first 8 or 10 years of practice to get past taking all those problems home with me, to get past owning their problem, because you have to get some objectivity in order to go forward from there. So affectionately, I have the nickname Honey Badger now. You can tell me anything. You can say anything to me. You can be ugly to me, because I'm going to let it go off my back. It's not going to bother me. And in the General Assembly, I get picked on a lot about, the Honey Badger. You can say anything to her, it's going to be okay. That's important to sort of maintain that objectivity. So one of the other things, again, when I was in law school, we were taught to advocate. We were taught to get our position and defend our position, and we sort of defend it to the hilt. But one of the bigger things that became more important to me was 5 or 6 years into practice, we started something called mediation. And I think mediation has been one of the best things to happen to the practice of law in a long time. I always like to go back and look, where's my BATNA? Where's my best alternative to negotiating a settlement with this person? What might happen to court? What's the good? What's the bad? How do I get this other person to engage with me to get to that settlement possibility? And then trying to do more and more of that before we ever even get to the point of no return. That's so important to always know where personally your BATNA is. The other statement that came to me from mediation is, and I love this one, don't get even, get what you want. That's part of being that honey badger too. You don't want to get even when somebody did something mean to you or bad to you. You don't want to get even when somebody said something ugly to you. You want to focus on getting what you want. Keep your eyes on the prize and move forward there. Now, I sort of got into the legislature by accident. Not really by accident, I guess, but there was a person in the General Assembly who said, we want more like-minded people to come. Okay, explain to me why it's important to me. And so they did a really strong sales job on why what we do here is important, why we need more legal minds here, why we need to do those things. And so I got that solicitation, and I was thinking about it. And he invited me to a meeting, and at the meeting announced that I was running for office. And I'm like, okay. And my husband said, I guess we're running for office. I still had a 15-year-old and a 17-year-old at home, girls, who very much, wanted, needed mom. So there was I ran for office, was not expected to win, and I won. And it's like I'm the dog chasing the car. I caught the car. Now what do I do? But we made the best of it. My kids understood. My kids, as somebody earlier was talking about, what about your children? How do you balance all this? And my kids grew up knowing what their mom did, and knowing that a lot of people thought their mom was important. And some of their friends would talk about, well, my mom's lawyer, or my dad's lawyer, or, and so the kids realized that what I did was important, and that meant a lot to them. Then when I came to the General Assembly, they weren't particularly happy that I was down here, but they realized that what I did was important. And so I've been ever backwards to try to come back home for soccer games where my daughter's all conference and captain and all this kind of stuff, where my oldest was getting ready for prom and doing the cheerleading and, making those sacrifices to come back up here. I had several attorneys who were not real happy or helpful that Rule 40 says that we are allowed a continuance for service in the General Assembly, but the judges recognized that and allowed us to come. So there were a lot of sacrifices to be made there. And there were times I teetered on the edge of, can I do both? And I really have sort of, after 10 years, decided, no, I can't. So I'm sort of leaving the practice of law, but I see that what we do in the legislature matters too. And I hope everybody will continue to advocate and continue to contribute with making sure that the laws we pass are the best things that we can do. Frequently, somebody will come and say, well, this is a good idea. This is what I want to do. And I try to talk them through the downside of that, or that's not going to work the way you think it's going to work. And currently, I'll give you one example. There has been a big push for the last 6 or 8 years for us to get to a child custody situation where custody is automatically at least 40-60, if not 50-50. Doesn't sound like a bad thing, does it? Each parent gets 50-50. But what it does is it changes our approach to child custody actions, to court actions, from presuming the parents are fit, both parents are fit and proper, and we're going to decide where it's best for the child to live, to saying, okay, we've gone in here, it's going to be 50-50. And in order to change it, I got to get nasty. I got to get ugly. I got to lay out all the bad stuff, because I've got to show that this parent's not good enough to exercise the 40-60, as opposed to focusing on the positive. Where is it best for the child to be? And I don't think they fully understand that by tying the judge's hands that way, saying you must do 40-60 unless you find some other way around it, that we're going to get into some much more difficult and ugly situations. I like to stay on the positive end of that. I said I'm not really a big time speaker. I prefer for people, if you have questions or comments or concerns or things that you want to know about me personally or professionally, I'd prefer to have that interaction, that discussion. And so if there's anybody who has a question or a comment, like I said, I'm giving sort of very, very loose. Here's my speech. Here's my speech. And that's more of a speech than I usually write. My husband will tell you, if I read a speech, it looks like I have read a speech. But if I just have minimal notes to go by and I can talk, I usually, when I'm speaking to a group in person, it's like, tell me what more you want to know. Tell me what I've said that interests you to get into more depth with. But this venue is not always conducive to that. But again, I thank you for the award. I feel very humble. I don't feel like I'm a super lawyer. I'm just a lawyer who cares about my people. So thank you, Janet.
Well, thank you so very much. It is a real honor for us to be able to say that our speaker at this event was the highest ranking woman lawyer in the North Carolina legislature. And you are that, Representative Stevens, and we are deeply grateful for your commitment to the people of North Carolina. I can't imagine anybody who serves in the legislature these days. It has got to be a really remarkable thing, and sacrifices not just for your family, but for yourself. And And we are deeply grateful that you've been here tonight. Now, many of you know that we try to give a little present for our speaker and for some of our top 50 women. And so thanks to the heroics of Representative Stevens' staff today, she actually got the present that we FedExed yesterday. And so if you wouldn't mind opening it, Representative Stevens, I'm getting ready to recognize our top 50 who are here, and you too will also get this little gift that we have given Representative Stevens. And as she works on this beautifully wrapped box, that really, this is something from an organization that's actually woman-owned, based in North Carolina, called Anchor of Hope Box. And this is one product that Anchor of Hope Box has. And there you have it. So you have this, a bowl that has been crafted in this instance by Ugandans, women in Uganda, who are refugees from where their home is because of the war-torn land in which they live. And this organization, again, woman-owned, North Carolina-based, helps get women who have been sex trafficked or otherwise have been in abusive relationships to be able to have a way to sustain themselves. And so they sell these products, and the box part of Anchor of Hope Box is that they will mail to you a box of 2 or 3 handmade items, 3 months, 6 months, 9 months. And it's actually been focused on in InStyle magazine and Forbes. So we just thought it might be a great way. We never thought that we would be in the midst of this Afghanistan issue, and that refugees and people women in particular, who need to make sure that they have dignity and hope, have those opportunities. So we hope that Representative Stevens and all of you who are our honorees tonight get to enjoy that. There's a little card, if you wouldn't mind.
Yeah, I didn't open the card, but there's a magnet that's perfect for my law office. It says, never underestimate the power of hope. There is a card about the Anchor of Hope box. But yeah, never
will get that.
Yeah.
That's
so
beautiful.
That we hope that none of us underestimate the power of hope, and the fact that we as lawyers can deliver hope in really unique ways. And one of the ways we can do that is by providing free legal services for those who can't afford them. So we're now going to recognize and spotlight our top 50s who are on with us. If I overlook someone, please let me know. But I'm going to start, and we're going to go alphabetical order. So I'm going to start with another family law lawyer and another president of the North Carolina Bar Association, Shelby Benton from Goldsboro, North Carolina, who is also a family law practitioner. And we'll see how Altina does on trying to spotlight Shelby Benton.
She is not with us, Janet Ward.
Uh-oh, she was here earlier, so apologize for that. So how about Jean Carter from McGuire Woods? And I believe Jean was here earlier. Jean, congratulations. Jean's practice in Raleigh is estate planning and probate, nonprofit organizations, and business and tax. Does lots of wonderful things for a long time. Our next honoree is Denise Smith-Klein from Raleigh, general litigation, employment, and labor law. And I know Denise was on there's Denise. Thank you, Denise, for being a part. Congratulations. Michelle Canel from Fox Rothschild, also family law lawyer, and who does appellate work. We'll see if we can find her. All right. Leto Copley. Do we have Leto with us? There you are. Hey, Leto. Leto's with White and Stradley in Raleigh. Personal injury plaintiff and ADR. Thanks so much, and congratulations, Leto. Good to see you. And then next is Janice Davies with the Davies Law in Charlotte, estate planning and probate. Congratulations, Janice. Next is Susie Gibbons with Pointer and Sproul in Raleigh. Susie does employment, labor for the employer, and employment litigation for the defense.
Susanna has her video off. Susanna, if you'll turn it on, we'll spotlight you. Mine stepped away.
That's okay. All right, and Gina Morris with James McElroy and Deal from Charlotte, also family law lawyer. And Gina, I just wanted to let you know in our breakout session, we were talking Bill Deal stories. So his legend continues. Thanks for being with us and congratulations again. Laura Noble from the Noble Law Firm in Charlotte. And Laura is an employer and employment and labor for the employee and employment litigation for the plaintiff. Holly Norvell, Johnston, Allison and Horde in Charlotte, estate planning and probate, nonprofit organizations and tax for consumers.
We don't have her with us.
Okay, and how about Leslie Packer? Leslie Packer is with Ellis and Winters in Raleigh. Hey, Leslie, good to see you. Civil litigation defense, personal injury, medical malpractice defense, and personal injury products for the defense. Congratulations again. Alice Ritchie from Alexander Ricks in Charlotte, business litigation, intellectual property litigation, employment litigation for the defense, and civil litigation for the defense. Congratulations, Alice. Elizabeth Brooks Scherer from Fox Rothschild in Raleigh, appellate practice. Thanks for being here. Congratulations. Elizabeth Davenport Scott with Williams Mullen in Raleigh, business litigation, personal injury products, defense, personal injury and medical malpractice defense, and estate and trust litigation. Next is Tricia Shields at Hedrick Gardner in Raleigh, civil litigation for the defense, appellate, and also general litigation. Good to see you, Tricia. Next is family law lawyer Robin Stinson from Bell Davis and Pent in Winston-Salem. Next is Jill Strickland from Constangy Brooks in Winston-Salem, employment and labor for the employer, employment litigation for the defense. Alice Stubbs was in a mediation, and so she was in the breakout and wasn't sure she could come back in. Has Alice rejoined us yet?
No, she has not.
All right, thank you. Jennifer Van Zant with Brooks Pierce here in Greensboro, business litigation and antitrust litigation.
She's not with us either.
I declare. Okay, well, let me try. I think I've got two more. No, maybe one more. Dixie Wells, Ellison Winters in Greensboro, business litigation, civil litigation for the defense, and schools and education. Good to see you, Miss Dixie. Congratulations. All right, so for my folks, have I missed anybody in the top 50?
No, ma'am.
All right, or if you're in the top 50 and you think you've been missed, please let us know. But otherwise, we'll be mailing you your little piece of hope. And we thank you for getting to be here with us tonight. It's a real honor, and I hope that you've had a good time. Just as a reminder, we do have the match donation and the opportunity for you to give. It is shocking to me that we only have about 1,000 lawyers out of some 25,000 in North Carolina that consistently give to Legal Aid of North Carolina. And as women lawyers, I hope that we will always be part of that number and encouraging people in our firms to give as well. And I thank you for allowing us to share a little bit about legal aid tonight. I also want to thank the wonderful volunteers who have put our event together. There are a number of people from our law firm, and one I wanted to point out is attorney Audrey Snyder. Can we put the camera on Audrey for a second? So Audrey is my mini-me, except she's exceeding my mini-me-ness because she's getting ready to have her first baby in about a couple of weeks. So we're very excited for Audrey. I feel a little sorry for myself for her going out on maternity leave, but she's a remarkable young lawyer, and we're just thrilled that she's a part of our team here at Ward Blacklaw. So let's see, I think that is pretty much all of our business. And let's see if there's anything else that I've missed. Thank you again to all the volunteers. Thank you for being a part with us this evening. Thank you so much, Representative Stevens, for giving us a very special opportunity to get to hear you. One thing I noticed that George left out of your distinctions was you were also named Legislator of the Year from the North Carolina Advocates for Justice this year. And so we thank you for your service. It's being recognized in many different places. So thanks again, one and all. Hopefully we'll see you in person next year. If not, maybe we'll do Zoom again, and we'll be celebrating Legal Aid of North Carolina's 20th anniversary. Hope you have a great night. Thanks so much for being a part.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you. Thanks, Canel Ward. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you. Bye, guys.
Standing event again. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks for being here, Linda.
Always happy to.